This made the 17th time in 4 planetary rotations, and Director Vesh was growing tired of filing the revival reports. She pressed 3 of her sensory appendages against the observation glass, watching the human female convulse on the sterile platform below. Blood, that curious iron-based fluid, pooled beneath the restraint table. "Increase the cellular stabilizers," Vesh commanded, her voice carrying the sharp click of annoyance. Her assistant, a young Krellian named Pix, hesitated. "Director, the readings suggest her system is rejecting the 6th modification sequence. Perhaps we should allow termination and acquire a new subject." Vesh rotated 2 of her eye stalks toward Pix, with enough force to make the younger scientist flinch. "Do you understand how difficult it was to obtain this particular human? The Terran Federation doesn't simply hand over their citizens for scientific observation. We had to stage an entire mining accident on Kepler 42b. I will not waste that effort because you lack patience." The human, designation Terra 7, had stopped seizing. Her chest rose and fell in shallow gasps. Fascinating creatures, these humans, fragile as morning frost. Yet somehow they kept not dying when by all logical calculations they absolutely should have. Vesh had been studying xenobiology for 40 cycles, ever since the Council discovered humans bumbling around the outer territories like newly hatched greshlings. Everyone thought they understood carbon-based life forms. Everyone was wrong. Humans were wrong. Wrong in every conceivable way that biology could be wrong and still function. Their planet rotated at a ridiculous speed, bathing them in radiation that would cook most species medium rare. Their gravity was absurd, dense enough to crush the bones of civilized beings. They consumed poison for entertainment, called it alcohol, and sang badly while doing it. Their bodies ran hot enough to denature proteins, cold enough to shut down proper metabolic function, and they just kept going like malfunctioning maintenance drones. And this one? This Terra 7? She was special even by human standards. Vesh had acquired her from a research station where she'd been volunteering for baseline medical studies. Simple stuff. Reaction time tests. Blood samples. The kind of boring work that kept grants flowing. Except Vesh's scans had detected something the human doctors missed entirely. Terra 7's genetic code was mutating, slowly, naturally, without any external catalyst. It was like watching evolution happen in fast forward, except evolution wasn't supposed to work that way. Evolution took millions of years, not months. So Vesh did what any dedicated scientist would do. She kidnapped the human and started accelerating the process. "Subject is stabilizing," Pix reported, mandibles clicking nervously, neural activity returning to baseline. "Director, I must recommend we slow the modification schedule. Her system needs time to adapt." "Adaptation is the point," Vesh snapped. "We are not here to coddle her, we are here to see exactly how far human biology can be pushed before it finally does something sensible and dies." On the platform below, Terra 7's eyes snapped open. They glowed, not metaphorically glowed like poets described attractive features. Actually, genuinely, physically glowed with a soft blue luminescence that had no business existing in organic tissue. "Well," Vesh said, leaning closer to the glass. "That's new." Terra 7 turned her head, slowly, mechanically, until those impossible eyes fixed directly on the observation window. On Vesh, through reinforced transparent aluminum that was supposed to be one way. The human smiled. Then she broke the restraints. Not picked the locks, not used some clever trick. She simply pulled her arms upward and the molecular bonding straps, rated to hold a full-grown Thorian warbeast, snapped like dried vegetation. "Pix," Vesh said calmly. "Activate Containment Protocol 7. But Director, Protocol 7 is only for now." The laboratory filled with suppression foam, thick yellow gel designed to immobilize and sedate anything from a rampaging Krellian to an angry Vex swarm. Terra 7 stood up in the middle of it, foam sliding off her skin like water off polymer coating. She was naked except for the monitoring patches stuck to her chest and temples, covered in her own blood, and absolutely should not be standing. Vesh had personally designed the last modification sequence to shut down her motor cortex while the genetic restructuring took hold. Yet there she stood. "Hello, Vesh," the human said, and her voice carried harmonics that made Vesh's auditory organs ache. "I think we need to talk about consent in scientific research. How do you know my name?" Terra 7 tapped the side of her head with one blood-slick finger. "You have been pumping my neurons full of enhancement serums for 6 weeks. Did you think I wouldn't eventually develop the ability to interpret electromagnetic signals? I have been reading your computer systems for the past 3 days. Vesh felt something she rarely experienced. Fear. Pix. Initiate station lockdown. Alert the council guard. Classification level Omega. The human laughed. Actually laughed, the sound echoing wrong in the contained space. Oh, Vesh. Sweet, curious, ethically bankrupt Vesh. You still don't understand what you have made. Terra 7 raised one hand, and the observation window cracked. Not from impact, from pressure. The air itself seemed to compress and release, and the transparent aluminum developed fault lines like crystallizing ice. You wanted to see how far human biology could be pushed, the woman continued, walking toward the window. Foam continued to pour from ceiling dispensers, continued to slide uselessly off her skin. You wanted to know what happens when you strip away our limitation. Congratulations, Director, you are about to find out. Pix was already fleeing toward the emergency exit. Smart kid. Vesh stayed frozen, scientific fascination warring with self-preservation instinct. What are you? Still human, Terry 7 said softly. Just more so. You kept trying to break me, Vesh. But humans don't break the way you think we do. We adapt, we overcome, we improvise. It's kind of our thing. The window exploded inward. Vish threw herself backward, covering her sensory organs as transparent aluminum shrapnel filled the observation deck. When she looked up, Terra 7 was standing in the ruined frame, backlit by the laboratory emergency lighting. Here's what's going to happen, the human said, and now her voice carried an edge that made Vish's spine sax contract. You are going to tell me exactly what you did to me. Every modification, every serum, every genetic manipulation. Then you are going to give me access to your research network. And then, if I'm feeling generous, I might let you live long enough to witness what happens when you weaponize a species that climbed to the top of a death world food chain through pure spite. The council will stop you, Vish managed. You are one human, one damaged modified subject. We have fleets, armies, technology you can't begin to comprehend. Terra 7 smiled again, and this time Vesh saw her teeth. They hadn't been that sharp before. You know what your first mistake was, Vesh? It wasn't kidnapping me. It wasn't even the torture disguised as science. Your first mistake was assuming humanity survived our planet because we were lucky. We didn't. We survived because we are the scariest thing our world ever produced, and you just gave me the tools to prove it on a galactic stage. The human stepped into the observation deck, leaving bloody footprints on the polished floor. Behind her, the laboratory's suppression systems were still trying to contain nothing. Alarms shrieked through the facility. Somewhere Pix was probably reaching the emergency Vesh back toward the console, appendages scrambling for the emergency communication panel. She needed to warn the council, needed to tell them that the experiment had succeeded beyond all parameters. And that was the problem. You can send your message, Terra 7 said, somehow reading Vesh's intent. Tell them everything. Tell them that Director Vesh, in her infinite wisdom, decided to enhance a human's already ridiculous biology. Tell them you have created something new, something dangerous, something that's very, very annoyed about being kidnapped and vivisected for 6 weeks. Vesh's primary appendage found the communication trigger. She pressed it. Tell them, the human continued, moving closer, that their worst nightmare isn't an invasion fleet or a plague or some cosmic horror from beyond the void. It's a single pissed-off human who now has the ability to hack your networks with her mind, crush transparent aluminum with air pressure, and heal from injuries that should absolutely be fatal. What do you want? Vesh whispered. Terra 7 stopped, close enough that Vesh could smell the copper scent of human blood, could see the way those glowing eyes reflected the emergency lights. I want to go home, she said simply. But first, I need to make sure this never happens to another human. Which means I need your research, your contacts, your entire operation. I will be executed for treason. You will be executed for illegal experimentation on a sentient being, Terra 7 corrected. The treason is just bonus points. Now, are you going to help me, or do I need to start breaking your appendages until you cooperate? Because I should warn you, I have 6 weeks of very creative torture to draw inspiration from. Vesh looked at the human, really looked at her. At the modifications Vesh had forced into her cellular structure, at the way her body temperature now fluctuated to adapt to the environment, at the subtle shimmer in her skin that suggested some kind of adaptive camouflage was developing, at the absolute lack of mercy in those glowing eyes. Terminal 7, Vesh said quietly. Full administrative access. Password is my designation followed by the date I received my first research grant. Terra 7 walked to the terminal. Appendages moving across the interface with surprising grace for someone who'd been strapped to a table an hour ago. Her fingers flew across the controls, pulling up files, absorbing information with those enhanced neurons Vesh had so carefully modified. 17 other facilities, the human said, reading. 43 human subjects total. Various stages of experimentation. Her voice went flat. 12 casualties listed as acceptable research losses. Vesh said nothing. What could she say? You were going to write a paper, Terra 7 continued, still scrolling through files. Submit it to the Galactic Journal of Xenobiology. Win awards for your pioneering work in pushing human biological limits. Maybe get a council commendation. Science requires sacrifice. The human turned, and the look on her face made Vesh wish she'd run when Pix did. You are right, Terra 7 said. It does. Let's start with yours. She moved faster than anything organic should move. One moment she was at the terminal, the next she was directly in front of Vesh, one hand wrapped around the director's primary vocal appendage. Every facility location, the human said quietly, every researcher involved, every political contact who authorized this program. You are going to give me everything, Vesh. And in return I won't tear this station apart piece by piece while you are still in it. Vesh tried to speak. Couldn't. Managed a gurgling wheeze. Terra 7 loosened her grip slightly. Well, data core, Vesh gasped. Section 12. Encrypted, but you can't decrypt it. The algorithm requires council-level authorization, the human smiled. Vesh, you enhanced my brain. I can taste the electromagnetic spectrum. I can see individual photons when I concentrate. Do you really think your encryption is going to slow me down? She released Vesh, who collapsed against the console, gasping. Terra 7 was already moving toward the exit, toward Section 12, leaving destruction and suppression foam in her wake. At the door she paused. Oh, and Vesh, you should probably evacuate the station. Once I have what I need, I'm going to make sure this facility can never torture anyone again. You have about 30 minutes. Then she was gone, moving through the corridors with purpose, leaving Vesh alone in the ruined observation deck. The director looked at the emergency communication panel, still blinking with her distress signal. Help would come. The council guard would arrive within the hour. They would contain this situation. They would neutralize the enhanced human before she could become a genuine threat. Except Vesh knew with absolute scientific certainty that they wouldn't. She'd designed Terra 7 to be the pinnacle of human capability, to push past every biological limitation, to adapt to anything, and she'd succeeded, which meant everyone was in very serious trouble. Vesh triggered the evacuation alarm and began limping toward the escape pods. Behind her, through the facility's internal monitoring system, she could track Terra 7's progress. The human was moving through security checkpoints like they didn't exist, bypassing locks, disabling defense systems, absorbing information from every terminal she passed, learning, growing, becoming. By the time Vesh reached the escape pod bay, half the station's personnel were already fleeing. Bix was there, mandibles clicking frantically as he helped evacuate the junior researchers. Director, the human she's... I know, Vesh said. Get everyone out, now. She sealed herself into an escape pod, programmed coordinates for the nearest council station, and launched through the viewport. She could see her research facility, her life's work, floating against the starfield. And she could see Terra 7, standing in one of the primary observation windows, watching the escape pods scatter like frightened insects. The human raised one hand in a mocking wave. Then the facility's main reactor went critical. Not an explosion. Vesh knew explosions. This was controlled, precise. Terra 7 was systematically destroying the station's ability to function while preserving the data cores. She was erasing the facility while keeping the evidence. Smart. Terrifying. Human. Vesh's pod accelerated away, carrying her toward safety, toward the council, toward whatever trial awaited someone who'd accidentally created a galactic threat. But as she watched her facility die, one thought consumed her. She'd wanted to understand human limits. Now she understood that humans didn't have limits. They just had challenges they hadn't overcome yet. and Vesh had given one of them the tools to overcome anything. The galaxy was about to learn what humans called a very important lesson. Never back a predator into a corner, especially when that predator had nothing left to lose. Terra 7's last message appeared on Vesh's communication screen, transmitted on every council frequency. To whom it may concern, I am a human citizen of the Terran Federation. I was kidnapped and subjected to illegal experimentation. I have survived. I have adapted. I have the evidence. And I am coming for everyone involved. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Signed, Dr. Kira Chen, formerly Terra 7. Currently very, very angry. Vesh stared at the message. Doctor. The human had been a doctor, a medical researcher, someone dedicated to healing, and Vesh had turned her into a weapon. The escape pod continued its trajectory toward the council station, carrying its passenger toward an uncertain future. Behind them, the research facility became debris, and somewhere in that debris, a human who should have died 17 times was very much alive, very much free, and very much determined to make sure this never happened again. The galaxy was about to get interesting. Council Security Commander Thane prided himself on three things: his tactical brilliance, his unwavering loyalty to galactic order, and his ability to terminate threats before they became problems. The human was about to become a problem. He stood in the command center of Battle Station Kronos, watching the debris field that used to be research facility, Theta 9, spread across his tactical display. 47 escape pods had launched before the facility's controlled destruction. 46 had been recovered. One was still missing. Commander, his tactical officer, a Wren named Kelso, chirped from her station. We have analyzed the destruction pattern. The human didn't sabotage the reactor. She reconfigured it. The entire facility was converted into a short-range electromagnetic pulse specifically designed to disable tracking systems. So she's covering her trail. More than that, sir. She's also transmitted the facility's entire research database to 17 different locations throughout council space. News networks, legal advocates, even the Terran Federation embassy. Everyone now knows about the illegal experimentation program. Thane's jaw plates clicked in annoyance. Political fallout is not my concern. Locating and neutralizing the enhanced human is. What's her last known trajectory? Kelso manipulated her console, bringing up projection models. Based on escape pod telemetry before the pulse hit, she was heading toward the merchant lanes. High traffic area.
Easy to disappear.
She's alone, injured, and in an escape pod with limited resources. She can't have gone far. Commander. Another officer interrupted. A Krell named Voss. We are receiving reports from the merchant lanes. 3 ships have gone dark in the past 2 hours. No distress signals, just sudden communication loss. Thane felt his combat instincts activate. Pirate activity? Negative, sir. These were different ship classes in different sectors. A cargo hauler, a pleasure yacht, and a diplomatic transport. Nothing connects them except timing and location. And the fact, Kelso added quietly, that they are all on possible routes from Theta 9 to Terran space. The human was upgrading her transportation. Smart, ruthless, efficient. Thane was almost impressed. Dispatch hunter teams to each last known position, he ordered. I want forensic analysis on those ships. Find out what happened to them and where this human is heading. Sir, the Terran Federation is demanding an explanation for the research program. They are threatening to withdraw from the Council. Then perhaps the Council should have considered that before authorizing experiments on their citizens, Thane said coldly. My job is threat neutralization. Politics can sort itself out after the human is in custody. Sir, about that. Kelso's voice carried a note of concern. I have been reviewing Director Vesh's research notes. The modifications performed on Dr. Chen are extensive. Enhanced neural processing, adaptive cellular regeneration, sensory expansion across multiple spectrums. If even half of these augmentations are functional, she's operating at a level we have never encountered. She's still biological, Thane said. Biology has weaknesses. Find them. 3 hours later they found the cargo hauler. It was drifting in a standard shipping lane, completely intact except for one detail. Every electronic system had been stripped, not destroyed, not damaged, surgically removed. The crew was alive, sedated, sealed in the emergency shelter with enough supplies for a week. No injuries, no casualties, professional. She's building something, Thane said, studying the salvage reports. Communications arrays, processing units, Power regulators. What does she need this much tech for? Kelso pulled up a schematic. Commander, these components could be assembled into a high-grade signal amplifier, the kind used for long-range transmission. She already sent her data dump. What else does she need to broadcast? Unknown, sir, but if she's heading toward Terran space, she might be trying to contact her government directly. Arrange extraction. Thane shook his head. No, if she wanted simple extraction, she'd have transmitted coordinates and waited for rescue. She's planning something else. The pleasure yacht was found next. 6 hours later, same pattern, crew sedated and safe, electronics stripped. This time she'd taken navigation systems and weapons components. She's arming herself, boss reported. And she's getting better at it. The yacht crew reported they never saw her. She infiltrated the ship, disabled everyone with some kind of airborne sedative, took what she needed, and left. Total time elapsed was 8 minutes. 8 minutes to neutralize a crew of 12 and strip a ship. Yes, sir. Thane studied the pattern. 3 ships, progressive upgrades, moving steadily toward the border. But something didn't. Kelso, pull up Galactic charts. Show me the most direct route from Theta 9 to Terran space. The holographic display shifted, showing possible trajectories. Now overlay the locations of the 3 disabled ships. The pattern became clear immediately. The ships weren't on the most direct route. They formed a curved path, arcing through sectors known for heavy Council military presence. She's not running from us, Thane said slowly. She's running toward us. Why would an enhanced human actively move through our strongest defensive positions? Reconnaissance, Kelso suggested. Testing our response capabilities, or she wants us to chase her, Voss added. Lead us away from something. Thane felt ice crystallize in his core. Pull up the locations of the 17 facilities Vesh mentioned. The ones still running the human experimentation program, the display populated with markers scattered across Council space. Then Thane saw it. The diplomatic transport that had gone dark wasn't on the route to Terran space at all. It was heading toward Facility Sigma 4, one of the largest research installations. She's not running, Thane said. She's hunting. Get me a direct line to Sigma 4. Now, the communication came through, but the image was corrupted. Static filled the screen, then cleared enough to show a Vrin facility director, mandibles clicking in panic. Kronos, we have an intruder. A human female. She's in the detention levels. She's freeing the subjects. We can't stop her. She's in our systems. She's everywhere. The transmission cut to static. When it cleared, a different face filled the screen. Dr. Kira Chen looked significantly better than her last known image. The blood was gone. The injuries healed. She'd acquired clothing, a dark tactical suit that looked like it had been modified from ship crew uniforms, and her eyes still glowed with that impossible blue light. Hello, Commander Thane, she said, and her smile was cold. Yes, I know who you are. Your security protocols are adorable. Did you really think encrypted channels would stop someone who can literally taste radio waves? Thane kept his expression neutral. Dr. Chen, you are committing acts of piracy and terrorism. Surrender now and you will receive fair treatment. Kira laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. Fair treatment. Like the fair treatment I received. Like the fair treatment the 42 other humans in this facility are receiving right now. Tell me, Commander, what's the Council definition of fair? Because I'd love to hear it. The research program has been shut down. The Council is conducting investigations. Justice will be served through proper channels. Proper channels, Kira repeated. Right. The same proper channels that authorized kidnapping Federation citizens for genetic experiments. The same proper channels that classified 12 human deaths as acceptable research losses. Those proper channels. Behind her, alarms were blaring. Thane could see facility personnel running past the camera's field of view. What have you done? He asked. I have liberated 42 political prisoners, Kira said. I have downloaded your complete research database, including all the classified sections you thought were secure, and I have transmitted everything to news networks across 12 different species' homeworlds. By tomorrow morning, every civilized being in the galaxy will know exactly what the Council has been doing to humans. You are starting a war. No, Commander, I'm preventing one. Because if the Terran Federation decides to respond militarily to systematic kidnapping and torture of their citizens, your fleet will discover very quickly why humans don't advertise our actual military capabilities. We prefer people to underestimate us. Makes everything easier. Thane leaned forward. You are one human, Dr. Chen. Enhanced or not, you cannot fight the entire council. You are right. Kira agreed. I can't, but I'm not trying to fight the council. I'm trying to destroy the people responsible for this program, starting with everyone in this facility's chain of command. If you harm them, you become the villain in this story. Commander, I stopped caring about being the hero about 6 weeks ago, right around the time Director Vesh decided to see if my brain could handle direct electrical stimulation. Spoiler alert, it could. And now I can hack your military networks while having a conversation. Multitasking is fun. This facility has 300 personnel, civilians, researchers, support staff. Are you going to murder all of them? Kira's expression shifted, something almost like pain crossing her face. I'm not a murderer, Thane. Despite what you people tried to turn me into, everyone here is being sedated and secured. When I leave, I will transmit their location to emergency services. They will wake up with headaches and unemployment, but they will wake up. Then what do you want? I want the names of every council member who authorized this program. I want the locations of every black site facility. I want complete transparency and accountability. And I want a formal treaty guaranteeing that no human will ever be subjected to this again. And if the council refuses, Kira's smile returned, sharper than before. Then I start making examples. You have seen what I can do to ships, Thane. Imagine what I could do to orbital stations. Planetary infrastructure, financial networks. I'm inside your systems. I know your security weaknesses. I know where your politicians live, and I'm very, very motivated. Thane made a decision. Dr. Chen, I'm going to be honest with you. The council will never negotiate with what they perceive as a terrorist, even if that terrorist has the capability to crash your entire communications grid, especially then. They will authorize lethal force. They will send hunter teams. They will make you a priority target, and they won't stop until you are neutralized. Kira nodded slowly. I know, that's why I'm not negotiating with the council. I'm negotiating with you. I don't have that authority, but you have influence. You have contacts. And unless I'm reading you wrong, you are not comfortable with what was done here either. I can see it in your body language. The way your plates shift when you talk about the program. You didn't know about this, did you? Thane said nothing, which was answer enough. Help me, Commander. Not because you like me or approve of my methods, but because this is wrong and you know it. Help me shut this down properly, give me the information I need, and I promise I will stop tearing apart your infrastructure. Why would I trust you? Because I'm giving you a choice, Kira said. Work with me and this ends with accountability and reform. Fight me and this ends with me broadcasting council secrets until your government collapses under its own corruption. I don't want to burn down galactic civilization, Thane, but I will if that's what it takes to protect my people. The transmission flickered. Think about it, Commander. You have 48 hours. After that, I start releasing classified files, military deployments, political scandals, financial crimes, all the dirty secrets the council thought were buried. I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of government they have been trusting. That's blackmail. It's leverage. There's a difference. Oh, and Commander, stop sending hunter teams after me. The last 3 encountered unexpected technical difficulties. I'd hate for anyone to get hurt because you insisted on doing things the hard way. The screen went dark. Kelso turned to Thane. Sir, did she just admit to disabling our hunter teams? Yes, Thane said quietly. And she did it without killing anyone. She's giving us a chance to do this peacefully. You are not seriously considering helping her. Thane looked at the darkened screen, thinking about the research reports he'd read, about the casual cruelty documented in Vesh's notes, about the humans who died screaming on examination tables in the name of science. Get me a secure line to the Terran Federation embassy, he said, and pull the complete files on the experimentation program. Everything. I want to know exactly who authorized this and how high the orders aim from. Commander, that's treason. No, Thane said. That's justice. There's a difference. Across the galaxy, in a stolen ship running on hijacked power cells, Kira Chen sat in the pilot's chair and monitored 47 different communication channels simultaneously. Her enhanced brain processed information streams that would overwhelm a standard neural network. She watched news feeds reporting the scandal, political channels discussing emergency sessions, military frequencies, coordinating search efforts, and one encrypted channel where Commander Thane was having a very interesting conversation with Terran Federation Ambassador Lu. Shra smiled. The pieces were moving into position. Behind her in the cargo hold, 42 humans were recovering from their ordeal. Most were unconscious, sedated by the same compounds Vesh had used on Kira. Others were awake, staring at her with expressions ranging from gratitude to fear. "Where are we going?" one of them asked. A young man, barely 20 standard years, with the hollow eyes of someone who'd seen too much. "Home," Kira said simply. "We are going home, but first, we are going to make sure this never happens to anyone else." "How?" Kira stood, walked to the cargo hold entrance, looked at the survivors. Her people, fellow victims of Council arrogance, by being exactly what they made us, she said. They wanted to know human limits. They wanted to see how far we could be pushed. Well, they are about to find out. We are going to push back. We are not soldiers, another survivor said, a woman with burns covering half her face from some experiment gone wrong. "No," Kira agreed. "We are scientists, teachers, engineers, artists. We are people who were living peaceful lives until we were kidnapped and tortured, but we are also humans. And humans have this annoying habit of refusing to stay down when someone tries to break us." She pulled up a holographic display showing the remaining research facilities. 15 more locations. Hundreds more victims. The Council thinks they can contain this quietly, make a few arrests, issue some statements, and wait for the outrage to fade. They are wrong. We are going to every facility. We are freeing every prisoner. And we are collecting every piece of evidence until there's no possible way to deny what happened. "That's impossible," someone said. "There are only 43 of us." Kira's smile widened. 43 enhanced humans, each of us modified in different ways. Different abilities, different strengths. Vesh wasn't the only researcher getting creative. "Some of you can see in spectrums that don't technically exist. Others can process quantum calculations. One of you can apparently communicate with artificial intelligence systems like they are old friends." She gestured to a young woman in the corner who blushed slightly. "We are not victims anymore," Kira continued. "We are something new. Something the galaxy has never seen before. And we are going to use every advantage they accidentally gave us to make sure justice is served." "And then what?" the burned woman asked. "After we expose everything and free everyone, then what? We can't go back to normal lives. We are changed. Marked. The galaxy will fear us." Kira nodded slowly. "Yeah. They will, which is why we are going to show them something more important than fear. We are going to show them what humans do with power. Not conquest, not revenge, but protection. We are going to become exactly what we were before this nightmare started. Doctors, teachers, engineers, artists. Except now we will have the ability to make sure no one ever treats sentient beings as lab experiments again." The ship's navigation system chimed. They were approaching the next facility. Kira returned to the pilot's chair, fingers dancing across controls with inhuman precision. "Get some rest," she told the survivors. "Tomorrow we liberate Facility Omega-7, and then we start the real work." In the command center of Battle Station Kronos, Commander Thane finished his conversation with Ambassador Lu and made a decision that would either save his career or end it. He pulled up the classified files. All of them. And he sent them to Dr. Kira Chen with a simple message. "You win. Let's do this the right way." Kira received the transmission and allowed herself a moment of genuine relief. She'd been prepared to burn the galaxy down if necessary. But this was better. The story wasn't over. It was just beginning. And when humans told this story in the future, they wouldn't remember it as the time the Council experimented on their people. They'd remember it as the time 43 victims became heroes. The time one angry doctor became a force of nature. The time humanity proved that you don't mess with species who climbed their way to sentience through sheer determination. The galaxy was learning a lesson. Humans were dangerous when pushed, but they were merciful when given the choice. Dr. Kira Chen intended to be both, and the universe would never forget it.